Well, let's dive into another AC. Alright guys, we are hitting another AC. This is going to be on the winch truck project, the one we're calling the rented mule. And the reason you're seeing back-to-back AC things, it's been hot as hell this summer. This truck's getting ready to go on the road, and I've had enough of driving around with no AC. But also, I don't know if you guys have this problem, but one of my problems, it's amazing the information that just sticks in your head. I've had stuff told to me that I've never actually done before, but I know how to do it because I was told one time and it just stuck in my head. And now it's gotten to the point, for some reason AC stuff has just never dug into my cranium. So I've written the numbers down, know what they're supposed to look like, you know, kind of know the procedures and all that stuff, but for some reason it just doesn't stick. All right, we got our low side and our high side tied in, and this one has a little bit of pressure on it. Not enough, but just a smidge. So we're gonna assume that it's just that it's got a slow leak. It lost some freon from the time it sat up. It sat up a couple of years before I got it, and it's been sitting up over here, oh Lord, maybe a year since we first started tinkering with it, or since it got here rather. So we're gonna go ahead and pull a vacuum on it, see if we have any leaks and how bad they are, and go from there. So like I was saying, this done AC stuff and it just doesn't stick in the brain on me for some reason. So I figured what we're gonna do, we'll do a few back to back and do them by ourselves without, we got my buddy I can call, it's not a big deal, but I need to get this stuff cemented in my head. So we're gonna try and just go and do a couple of these and then get it in there. That way it'll stay put. So we did Tristan's truck, and I don't know if that's all gonna be on the same, might just do like an air conditioning video, I don't know. But anyway, trying to learn how to do all of this stuff and take you guys along for the ride. Yeah, this is gonna be better. So I'm just securing this, because this is gonna have to pump this down for a while, and I'm gonna be in and out keeping an eye on it. But alright, so we're gonna take our yellow line now that we got our high and our lows, all our manifolds is closed. We're gonna put the yellow in here. We're gonna fire up the pump. I'm going to open up this low side. Let me see if I can. So we had about 30 pounds, but when you fire up the truck, it would it would go down. You know, it was the compressor was pulling some vacuum, so there's not a whole lot in there. So we're gonna let it pump for a while. As you can see, we're getting into the red, so it's starting to pull some vacuum. And I don't know the history on this AC. It's the first time I've run it, other than putting the gauges on it and bumping it the other day just to see if it would pull suction and make sure that the compressor wouldn't make any weird noise. But there wasn't any freon in it, just a little bit of pressure. So we're gonna let this run, I don't know, at least a half hour, 45 minutes, and we're gonna see. We're already at 20 pounds, so we're gonna see how this pulls down and see if it holds a vacuum, which is more important to the process. And if it holds, we're gonna charge up. All right, we'll come back to that in a little bit and let that pump do its work. All Alright guys, well we almost at 30, about 29-ish, and this has been pulling down for an hour. So what we're going to do is we're going to close, we already got the red closed, we're going to close our blue and shut our pump off, and we're going to watch this for 30-45 minutes and see how far it goes down. And if it doesn't go down, we're going to charge her up with some freon, get her blowing some cold air. If it does go down, then we got to check leak mode. So I'm going to go find something to do for 45 minutes, and for y'all it'll be in just a few seconds. Alright, so we got about 29 pounds of pull on that. We got our pump unhooked, we got our half a can. And the reason I'm doing the half a can first is just so we know we got 3.5 cans to do for the total amount of weight that we got going on. So we are going to open our can up a little bit, and we're going to open our low side. We're going to let that vacuum start pulling some freon in there, and we're going to go crank our truck. So you see a little blue wire in there, just a little jumper wire on the cold side, and the clutch is engaged, and we're going to give it some freon. Alright guys, so we got the heat gun blowing on the can to keep it from frosting up. We're trying to get to about 38 to 39 pounds on the low side and around 200 on the high side. And we're just slowly going in with it. The compressor cycling, or not cycling rather. We pulled the jumper wire that we had on the low pressure switch out after the first can or so and plugged it back into the low pressure switch, so it'll cycle all by itself now. So it's just creeping it in a little bit at a time, and we get close to the 38 pounds on the low and the 200, 175, 200 on the high side. We'll start easing it down, you know, going a little slower. We don't want to exceed too much freon or cause you to not cool just about as bad as too little. Alright guys, this is the tool truck, and this is truck number 3 for the air conditioning stuff. And as I mentioned before, I usually forget AC stuff for some reason, so we did Tristan's truck, the rented mule little winch truck, and we're going to do this one this week. And hopefully 3 of them in a few days will cement this AC stuff into my head. So I got the air conditioner compressor pulled. We're going to put new O-rings on the line right here, which is actually going to be on the back of the compressor. And I have the compressor over here dripping into this pan. We're going to see how much oil we catch. You got to catch the clutch and roll it around a little bit. So system takes 9 ounces. Don't hold me to that. Just check your tag right here on the truck. But you're going to have oil in the condenser. You're going to have oil in the receiver dryer. You're going to have oil in the A-coil and in the lines. So you don't want too much oil, but you don't want too little and burn up the compressor. So usually with a dry compressor, they recommend 3 ounces, and we're not catching much oil back in this system. You know, in this truck, to catch y'all up on it, we robbed the motor and transmission out of this truck for another project, and then we got a truck that was worse for wear than this guy, so we ended up taking the motor out the worse for wear truck and putting it in here, and it's been running good since. So anyhow, while we had the motor out, the condenser was unhooked. The lines were taped up, but they weren't, you know, really, you know, sealed. So we're gonna we're gonna go with 3 ounces of oil. We'll see what we get out of the compressor. So we're gonna empty and drain the compressor real good, rotate it to make sure we got everything out. Then we'll flip it upside down, put 3 ounces of oil in it. Pack 46 oil is what these call for. We'll put the compressor back on and put the lines back on. Once the compressor's on, you got to rotate that thing 10 or 12 full rotations, because you want the little pistons to push all the oil into the system and get it out of the compressor for startup so you don't hydrolock. And then we're going to put the vacuum pump on it, suck it down and fill it up. So that's the process, and right now we're just waiting on the compressor to finish draining, and we'll put oil in there, and I'll let y'all pick up from there when we get that going. So we're going to go back to what I did earlier, which is hook the gauges up, pull a vacuum on it. Since this system was open, we're going to pull a vacuum for maybe an hour, a little more, make sure we get all the moisture out of the system, and then from there we'll go ahead and lock it in, see if it holds, and if it holds, we're gonna put some freon to it and cool her off. So let me get the gauges hooked up and we will, I'll just show you all the gauges in case you hadn't seen that hooked up. And low line right here, high pressure line here, and the yellow line is either on the pump or the yellow line is your feed for the freon. Alright, so hook these onto something good where they won't fall. Anybody that hasn't seen them, these need to be backed out all the way, and these have a little tit in there that depresses the Schrader valve, so it quick connects like this onto it. Make sure we in frame. So you put it on the thing, hold the collar up, and it drops on, and then you screw this down lightly. You don't have to get crazy, and that depresses the Schrader and allows you to be able to get in and out of there. So we're going to do the same thing over here. I got to rotate this a little bit so it pull the quick connect up and lock it on, and then just screw this gently on. Alright, we got our two gauge valve manifolds for the gauges are closed, and we take the end of the yellow hose and go to the vacuum pump. We'll turn the pump on and open the blue line. So y'all can see we're pulling down into the red zone, which is the vacuum side, and it's 30 is the max. It should pull down to 28 to 30 in that range and stay there. It'll pull down to 20, 21 pretty quick, and then it'll have to work on the rest, but it'll get there eventually. And then once you get down to, as close to 30 as it'll go, and you let it pump. If it's a fresh system, you can do 30 minutes if you just change it a component. But if you've been in there and changed multiple stuff, or if the system's been open for a while, pull it down for an hour at least, and then we'll shut the pump off and we'll shut our blue valve and trap that vacuum, and we'll make sure that the gauge doesn't go down. And if the gauge holds, then we have no leaks and we can move on. So sorry about all this moving of the camera. I had it on the tripod. So we're gonna let her pump down. She's already at about 27, so that's looking good. And we'll let her pump and see if we got any leaks. No leaks, we're gonna put freon in it. Alright, so we are 90, 91 ish. Alright, so we're gonna close this up. Now we're still holding our vacuum with the manifolds closed, and we lost a couple of pounds on the vacuum, but it's been sitting for about an hour. I'm thinking it may be the shaft seal, and I'm hoping it'll lubricate itself once we get to running it. But for right now, it's gonna be good enough. We're gonna give it a shot. So what you want to do, as we did in the other truck, close all this up. Sorry for all the movement, guys. So you're gonna be wide open fan, max cool, max AC. All right, so that's all max, max, and max. You want to have your freon bottle ready, your heater for the freon bottle ready. All right, and we're all hooked up and ready to go. Again, we spun the compressor 12 rotations to get the oil out, so we should be good. And we're gonna put our little jumper wire right here, and we're gonna put that on the low pressure switch, which is right here on the side of the dryer. And we're going to do that for the first can, because otherwise the clutch is going to cycle or not cycle because until it gets enough freon in it. So we're just going to do the jumper wire for the first can, and then after that can we'll pull the jumper wire off and run it regular to make sure that the system's functioning right. So let me get y'all set up right here. Now I'm gonna put this on speed dial once I get going. Speed dial. I'm gonna put this on time lapse once we get going, just so y'all don't have to listen to the noise. We'll put some tunage on there. But I got 3 cans. It's supposed to be 3.5. I got 3 cans ready to go, so that's what it's gonna be for right now. And if we need some more, we'll get some more. And we're looking for about 38, 39 pounds on the low and 175 to 200 pounds on the high. So I'm gonna swap y'all over to the time lapse, open the freon in the manifold with the truck running, rig up the little jumper, and we'll be good to go. So we got 3 cans in. That can's empty, so that's 3 cans. Our lines are getting good and frosty right here. Clutch is acting a little hot, weird. We may need to shim that. And let's see what we're cooling down to in here. That's about 48. So we could probably get it a little cooler. I'm gonna have to pull the squirrel cage out and clean that coil. Check that out and check the little vent door. Make sure it's not open air to the outside. And we may get another bottle, another thing of freon, and we're due for another half a can according to the math. But for right now, we're gonna stop. We're gonna check a few mechanical things, and then we may put some more in. That may be it for right now on the AC stuff. So if that's it, y'all see us something we need to improve on, or y'all got a comment, question, hit us up in the comments. And if not, hey, at least let us know what y'all are working on. All right, guys. More than likely that'll be it for this video. We'll see y'all on the next one, and rare shot we might keep going with it, but I think that's it. So as I mentioned before, thanks for watching, and we'll see y'all on the next one.